This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points is sponsored by BHP and by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by your local Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
We are ready to rock at NRG Stadium. Whitney Merciless with the sack. Throws left side of the end zone. Caught. Hopkins. Touchdown, Houston.
Hey there, my friends, and welcome into a bye-week edition or an off-week edition of Texans Extra Points. My name's Drew Doherty. I'm your host, and two of my good pals, DP Sidhu, John Harris of the Houston Texans, are with me. We have a whole lot to discuss because we're looking ahead, we're looking back, we're staying in the middle as well, but stick with me for one more minute because we got to get news of the week out of the way, and for that we go to quick hits. And we start things off, well, the Texans are off. There is no game this week. There are 7 remaining in this season. So with a little bit of extra time, the players have a chance to rest and re-energize.
It's a good spot, halfway through the season, just being able to, be where we at. A lot to look back over the past weeks to correct. The biggest thing is really getting everyone healthy, getting everyone, rested up for a long stretch, and for us to be able to, try to make a run.
Last week against Jacksonville, the Texans were without J.J. Watt, Laramie Tunsil, Tashawn Gibson, Bradley Roby, and a host of others. Well, some of those, minus Watt, are going to be coming back after the bye.
One of the keys to the second half of the season will be health. I think that the guys have to work hard to get treatment this week and, get away from the game a little bit, but to come back as healthy as they possibly can. So I will know, obviously, I'll know more about that when they get back here on Monday. But it seems to me as we leave for the break that guys are headed in the right direction.
And when the Texans do return to action, it'll be in Baltimore against the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, a very capable quarterback.
I think they're very dynamic. I think their offense is unique. It's different from many of the other offenses around the league. It's a lot more, I want to say, collegey in a way, with the skill set that Lamar has, his ability to run the ball, escape the pocket. So it's going to be different.
So that's some of the news of the week, and now to look back at what we've seen so far. Let's go back to our reading comprehension days when we were in first grade, kindergarten. Maybe you guys were 2 years old or something and you learned to read earlier. But the main idea through 6-3 for the Houston Texans is what, DP?
The main idea is that the offense is clicking. Deshaun Watson is comfortable. They're able to run the ball. The offensive line's got some chemistry. I think everyone's just a little bit more in sync as the weeks have gone on. And you could say that for the defense as well. They've been able to stop the run with or without J.J. Watt. They've had so many injuries on the back end. But they're playing collectively as a union. I know everyone says, do your job. That's what everyone on the defense says. But I think they're actually doing their job, and they know what the goal is every single week, and they're able to stick to it. So I'm going to say Deshaun being comfortable, defense, everyone doing their job, and just everyone just being in sync and being comfortable as the weeks have gone on.
I like it. What's your main idea, Johnny?
I would say responding to adversity.
Yeah.
You get kicked in the eye, you throw a touchdown. You lose 3 corners during a game, you roll 3 guys out there that haven't been together basically for a week, and you find a way to win. You make a trade for Laramie Tunsil at the beginning because the offensive line's really not coming together maybe the way that you want to have. Titus Howard's down for a few weeks. He comes back for the week in London when you really need him to. Responding to adversity, being down in the first half of games, coming back in the second half against the Chargers.
You throw a receiver like Kenny Stills into the mix a week,
I mean, absolutely. Just the players that you've had down, the injuries, all that kind of stuff. This team really has responded to adversity well. DP's right. Deshaun's he's made wizardry happen, and it's like, how's that happening? But players not named Deshaun Watson have played at a max level. DJ Reader's playing at Pro Bowl level. They made the trade for Jake Martin. I mean, everybody thought, who's Jake Martin? He makes plays when he goes on the field. The defense, Broderick McKinney and Zach Cunningham have been fantastic, but they've responded to adversity. Down in games, down with players, people hurt, trying to come back from all that, and they've done that to come up with really big wins thus far. And now if they can get guys back, as you just mentioned, Drew, getting guys back off the bye, maybe we really can find out what this offense can do when everybody's fully healthy and fully in sync.
It's a fun offense to watch when those things are going on, and Deshaun Watson is leading it. He's leading it at an MVP caliber level. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but he's definitely in the conversation at this point of the season for it. So Deshaun Watson right now, how is he better than what you've seen say, 2018 and when his rookie year was 2017?
I mean, I just think he's more comfortable. He's seen more defenses. He's seen more film. Over a period of time, that's a cumulative effect. So he can respond a lot faster. He gets the ball out of his hands quicker. His decision-making is so good. He's so decisive. And, I mean, he's just himself. I mean, the wizardry that Johnny talks about, the ability to make plays and not make mistakes. We don't see very many of those mistakes from Deshaun Watson anymore. I think he has learned from the mistakes he's made in the past. And I know we've heard it before. If he makes a mistake once, he's not going to make the same one again. So I think he's just had a lot of learning behind him, and he's relying on that knowledge.
You know, and a lot of that has bled over into the pass protection because pass protection has gotten better this season. How about the offensive line? What have you seen on the whole pass protection-wise from week 1, last year to now, John?
Well, from last year to now, we're talking about two totally different leagues from what they're doing. The addition of Max Sharpen and Titus Howard's offensive line, you almost can't even speak to because it's been monumental what they've been able to add to this mix. But Titus at right tackle when he's been healthy, and then Max at guard. But Laremy Tunsil's the best left tackle in the game. I'll be brutally honest about that. He is the best left tackle in the game. And you add him over to the left side, and that just solidifies everything. Now you don't have to help Laremy as much. Now your tight ends can get on the passing game more than they were in previous years. Whereas the previous years, those tight ends had to help our tackles to make sure that Deshaun didn't take a beating. But I think the one thing Deshaun would tell you about this offense is that, and what it's doing, and for him, is the game is slowed down. You hear that a lot. Oh, the game is slowing down. The game is slowing down. Basically, what he's saying is he's processing faster because, as DP said, he's seen things before. He's seen them a second time. Oh, I know how to react to this.
Yeah.
I know what they're going to do. I know what they're going to do in advance. And I think one other thing that Deshaun has is he has trust in a lot of different guys that he throws the ball to or hands the ball to, and that is hugely important in this offense.
Okay, good stuff. We didn't even get into the pass catchers, the running backs, the tight ends, all those guys. We will in just a little bit, and we're definitely going to do it right now. John Harris, that guy over there, he's going to break down a DeAndre Hopkins catch from the game against the Jags. This was a beauty. Johnny has it down on the Telestrator.
Welcome to Texans Illustrated, presented by BMW. I'm your host, John Harris, and we're going to go back to London for a key play for the Texans offense. Ahead in the game in the third quarter, 12-3, and they got the ball just outside the red zone. You can see here, this is a second and about 9 play. Now, this play looks familiar. It actually is the same play as the Texans ran against the LA Chargers. And if you remember in that game against the Chargers, well, DeAndre Carter was not here at this point. There was only 2 receivers here, and here. I think the running back was back here with Deshaun. But they're an empty set, but it's the same concept. You've got a post safety in the middle of the field, and you got these guys inside. Looks like they're playing all man. So the Texans are going to run seam, and then they've got all kinds of different things they can do here. They can hitch, they can run in, hitch, in, whatever. But the point is, they're going to put this safety in conflict. That's what they want to be able to do. Now, as you look at this, here's the safety right here. He's on this hash. He's expecting this ball right here to come to fell. So he wants to help his guy here. But here's the problem. Right here, this defensive back is going to give DeAndre Hopkins the inside, expecting help from here. But the safety is going to lean towards the tight end. Well, you're going to get burned either way. And that's what happens to the Jags here. Sean takes a snap, and he's got to throw quickly because he doesn't get a little heat. But you can see how he opens up and gives up the inside. So DeAndre pushes him up the numbers and then just stays on that path, knowing he's probably going to take a shot. But look where the safety is. That safety can't make a play on this ball right here if Deshaun puts it on a line. And that's exactly what he does. Look where the safety is. Sitting, squatting. And look where Hop is. He's got inside leverage. Hop's just going to box him out like basketball. Deshaun's going to deliver it, makes the catch, gets inside the 1-yard line. Let's go back and take a look at this again. Not sure exactly what the Jags are trying to do here. Looks like he's spot dropping, so that means he's got to help. But that means that A.J. Boye here can't give up the inside, yet he does, expecting help. He doesn't get it. Deshaun throws this ball right there. Big first down. Duke Johnson would score the next play, and the Texans would take a 19-3 lead at that point. You see some of the same concepts wrapped differently from the Texans, and that has been really fun to watch from their offense this year.
in motion to the right, Carter. Here's the snap. Watson fakes the handoff, dumps it off Fells, walks in, touchdown Houston! 1 yard touchdown pass to Fells as the Texans have a 2-score lead across the pond.
Next Gen Stat, powered by AWS. Look at that. Darren Fells has 6 touchdowns, and he's a tight end, and no other tight end in the NFL has as many as he does. That's pretty amazing. And it's the most in a season by a Texans tight end, tied along with Owen Daniels in 2012 and Joel Dreesen the year before that in 2011. There's still 7 more games to play. Darren Fells, raise your hands, and you raise your hands out there. If I'd have told you before the season that Darren Fells was going to lead the team in touchdown catches at this point with 6, raise your hand. Would you believe that? No. You wouldn't have believed
Johnny's
that.
trying to raise.
You wouldn't have even still. I know you knew about it, but you didn't know this was going to happen.
No, not this.
No.
Darren Fells, what a revelation. And Jordan Akins has been good too, DB. What have we seen from these tight ends so far?
I mean, we watched them all off season, and we thought Darren Fells was brought in here to be a blocking tight end, and we knew what Jordan Akins could do. But at the time, we had Jordan Thomas, we had Collie Waring. We thought, wow, this is a really stacked tight ends group. But it's really concentrated a lot on Fells and Akins. You see Akins making some big catches when it counts the most, and then Fells, a red zone threat. I mean, he's just so hard to stop. The basketball background, I don't know if anyone, maybe the coaches saw that when they brought him from Cleveland and said, you know what, he'd be a good pass catching tight end, but none of us really saw that he was going to be this good. But, he's solid. He's a veteran. He's played tight end longer than anyone else in that tight end room has played it. And he's just on another level of good right now.
Deshaun Watson likes having a big body to throw to. I mean, that's about as big a body as it gets right there, 6'7", and the way he can move.
Well, the 2 tight ends also have professional backgrounds in other sports. And I think that absolutely helps. Jordan Akins played minor league baseball. Darren Fells played basketball, and that's the first thing that stands out. You have a guy, Darren Fells' size, that plays basketball. He's got to have good hands. That was the thing that, I don't want to say troubled me, but all these years of looking at Darren Fells' stats, I'm thinking, wait, he's played basketball. He's got to have really good hands, right? How come teams don't throw him the ball that much? Well, what I realized in watching him over the years was that he's such a good blocker, especially in pass protection, that teams wanted him to block in pass protection. Yeah. But this goes back to our point earlier about the offensive line. Because the 5 guys up front can handle their business most of the time, Darren Fells can get out in routes. Akins can get out in routes. And then they're using the RPOs perfectly, where it's designed for a number of different things to happen, but one of those, very clearly, is Darren Fells to get out in a flat. But Jordan Akins, 4th and 2 catch against the Jaguars, huge. The 2 touchdowns against the Chargers. These 2 tight ends have been great. It's not been an overnight success, but it has been since the first day of training camp.
Right.
Every single day from the first day of training camp, they've been amazing.
All right, let's flip it over to the defensive side. No J.J. Watt, but in the first game post J.J. Watt, defense looks pretty good as far as the pass rush gets going. Discipline was something we heard about, staying in your lane and just forcing Minshew, keeping him in the pocket. What does this defense need to do the rest of the way?
I think they just need to do, Whitney Merciless was talking about this after the game, whatever they set their sights on doing, they just got to stick to their assignment. Don't try to do too much, stick to your gap, control your gap, do your job, and then let the rest fall into place. Then go out and help everyone else. I think everyone is just very laser focused on what they need to do, and they're playing in perfect sync right now. So it doesn't matter who comes in or who goes out. Everyone's making plays because it always seems to open up a play for somebody. I think the takeaways are huge. The fact that those last 4 Jaguars drives ended in takeaways, this defense is outstanding. If they can keep that up and keep the turnover differential in their favor, and hey, it'd be nice if you could keep teams to a field goal every single week. I don't know if that's going to happen with some of the teams that you're playing for the rest of the season, but they did a great job of just really controlling the clock.
They sure did, and this secondary looks like it's really gotten a shot in the arm because you got Bradley Roby coming back from injury pretty soon. And now you got Garyon Conley, who's a really talented young player, who's a first rounder a couple years ago, to go along with Jonathan Joseph, to go along with one of your rookies in Lonnie Johnson, who's also probably coming back soon. This looks like it might be becoming a strength of this Texans team.
Yeah, this is a group that is going to have to work together a lot. I mean, there was a point in that Colts game where you had 3 guys at corner when you're in your sub packages that they barely knew each other in the huddle. So guys have been together in the core of this defense for a while. But now the secondary is starting to play together a little while. You started to see that against Jacksonville, how that paid off.
It's sure fun. Okay, 6-3, the Texans are right now. What were the Texans at this point through 9 games last year? That's our Texans trivia. We'll have that answer for you a little bit later on, but think hard. 6-3 now. What were they last year?
Watson gives it up to Duke Johnson, who goes the edge and runs over Trey Herndon into the end zone. Touchdown, Houston.
Duke Johnson from the U.
That's how they teach you at Miami, coach.
We're back. This is the Ford Studio, and this is Texans Extra Points. Drew, DP, John. A lot of big games left in this season. A lot of folks said through the first 9 that was going to be a tough slate, and it was. Texans have handled their business. So let's discuss. You come back, you got the Ravens on the road, and then you got to flip around on a Thursday night, play the Colts at home, and then you've got some time off before a Sunday nighter against the Patriots. That's a 3-stepper right there. What do you think about the rest of the way?
I think it's going to be a tough stretch. I think it's nice that you got Jacksonville sort of locked up and you don't have to worry about them, but you still have the Titans that you got to face 2 more times, and you can knock the Colts out with that second game after the bye, and then you're done with them. So you don't have to have a bunch of AFC South matchups in December, which is nice. That being said, you also have a lot more home games, which I think will be really great come late this season. You don't have to travel as much. That London trip was quite a trip. So it'll be nice to be at home for a few games.
Okay, real quick, lightning round. Your biggest offensive surprise and your biggest defensive surprise. You start. Who are they?
All right, we talked about Darren Fields, but I'm going to go Carlos Hyde was the biggest offensive surprise because we just wanted someone to sort of step in Lamar Miller's role once he was out for the season. But Carlos Hyde has really surprised all of us with what he's able to do on the ground. He's just a different sort of runner. Love watching him every single week. Nice 1-2 punch with him and Duke.
Defensively, who is it?
It's Brendan Scarlett. 3.5 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. I mean, with Clowney being gone, everyone thought, is Brendan Scarlett going to be able to replace Clowney? Well, no one can replace Jadeveon Clowney, but Brendan Scarlett sure has done a nice job with those Rock Boys, the outside linebackers.
I hate the Rock Boy. How about you, John?
Offensively, Kenny Stills. I don't think anybody knew what to expect when the Texans traded for Kenny Stills. Like, really? We traded for Kenny? Look at all these receivers we got. Kenny Stills has been a revelation offensively. Defensively, the biggest surprise would probably be the continued ascent of Zach Cunningham. I knew he was good, but he's taken it to a completely different level.
He's all over the field, man. I'm going to go defensively. I'll go with Bradley Roby. I know he was the big name you signed in free agency, but I didn't know he was going to play this well. And then I'll go with Fells. You know, he was a big surprise, even though we thought he was going to be very, very capable. All right, we're also capable of having players to watch down the stretch, who to keep an eye on. We do the players to watch in each game, but we're going to do it for the final 7 of the season. We're going to start on the outside. John, who's your guy to watch?
Well, I picked Justin Reed, in large part because of that second. He's the only guy that has been healthy, I think, for every game back there.
Yeah.
And he's the guy you have to have back there. I mean, he's that leader. He's the one guy that keeps everything together. Got his first interception of the year in London, and hopefully there's more of that to come. But I said Justin Reed.
All right, who's your Gatorade player to watch?
I'm going to say Titus Howard. I love what he's able to do at right tackle. I mean, we thought if he could come in and play guard at some point, that would be great. You get Laramie Tunsil on the left, you got him on the right, and he's just really, the way he commands himself, you know, he's going to get some tough pass rushers this first stretch of the season, and he's got a few more in the second half, but I thought he's handled himself well, and I just think that offensive line is continuing to improve as the weeks go on.
That's a great one because think about, he has that little stretch where he misses time, and then he comes back, and he's probably, nobody's fully healthy, but he's dealing with a knee injury, and he goes against Yannick Ngakoue and really kind of stonewalls him for the most part. That was a very, very impressive show by him. And for the record, that field was slippery in London. So that makes it even more impressive. My player to watch, I'm going to go with DJ Reader. I mean, lots of eyes going to be on him with no J.J. Watt. And I think the book is out on him. People know how good DJ Reader is, and they're going to have to compensate for that. So it might open things up for other guys along that front. All right, stick with us. We've got much more Texans Extra Points to go. We will be back in just a moment.
Texans Extra Points is sponsored by BHP and by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by your local Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
We're back, and earlier in the show, we asked you in Texans Trivia, what was the record through 9 games of the 2018 squad? You remember they go 11-5. Well, they started at 6-3. Actually, they started 0-3, and then they peeled off 6 straight. So at the same point where you were last year, 6-3 now, 6-3 then, and I think the outlook is sunny for the Houston Texans. We're excited to be back. My name's Drew, that's Deepy, and that's John. So let's get into these final 7 games. What are the keys to Texans' success over this final span? We'll start with you, Deepy.
Oh, there's so many, Drew. But I'm going to say the first one's going to be continuing to do what you did well the first half, which is stop the run,
Yep.
and then on the offensive side, keep Deshaun Watson upright and healthy. So as long as number 4 is in the game and he's healthy, you're going to be just fine.
Okay, John, how about you?
I mean, health is one you got to just put that up on a shelf because that always happens. Offensively, I'd like to see them expand vertically a little bit more. And a lot of that has to do with Will Fuller coming back.
And they were doing that early.
Right, they were.
It's kind of dipped a little bit.
Right, and I think part of that is because Will's been out, but I would like to see them expand the offense vertically.
Yeah.
And hopefully when Will does come back, it will happen. Defensively, I think it continues to come back to which 4 guys rush. How can they mix that up and continue to mix it up with the guys that they're bringing? Because you don't have J.J. Watt. So how do you continue to get pass rush pressure with just 4? And in London, they mixed up a bunch of guys. And those 4 were all getting pressure in various ways. They have to continue to do that against Lamar Jackson, against Jacoby Brissett, against Tom Brady, Jameis Winston, Ryan Tannehill. Those 4 guys, to me, end up being a huge key in the second half of the season.
Okay, my FCCU key to the final 7 games is cleanliness. Cleanliness in 2 forms. Like you said, make sure Deshaun Watson stays upright for the most part. He's going to get hit from time to time because that's just what happens. That's how he plays. But also, be clean with the football. What did we see last year from the Texans in the turnover differential area? You know, I'm all about
That's
this.
your thing. That's your jam.
They were great. They were second in the NFL in that. They're doing well right now. They're +3, so they're in the top 10. Let's see that number rise. Keep the turnovers low and keep the takeaways coming. And I think this team's going to sail on into January and maybe even into February if they're able to do that. All right. You guys, thanks so much for coming on. Had a fun week with you guys. I feel like I've seen you here. I've seen you in London. We're back again. And all of you, thanks so much for watching. We're going to be back next week. It's a big show coming up. Texans going on the road to take on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens up there. So it's going to be a fun one. Till then, go Texans.